Hello, 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 hello. I don't have much time today, so we're gonna just quickly get into that stream. So excuse if there's like a little like sound in the background. I think my laptop is making way too many sounds, like excuse that. But let's start with a song before we go into why I want to leave it all behind. My whole life, there's something calling me, and I feel like, I don't know, man. Yeah, we'll get into that. Like a lack of passion, a lack of vision, feelings of doubt. It's a very interesting life at the moment. So, I'm going to start with the song. Sudosi bodosi niranjanusi samsaramaya parivajitosi samsara svaparam traija mohanijam na janmami tyortat satsvarupi Sudosi bodosi niranjanusi samsaramaya parivajitosi samsara svaparam traija mohanijam na janmami tyortat satsvarupi. You are forever pure, you are forever true, and the dream of this world can never touch you. So give up your attachment and give up your confusion and fly to that space that's beyond all illusion. You are forever pure, you are forever true, and the dream of this world can never touch you. So give up your attachment and give up your confusion and fly to that space that's beyond, oh beyond all illusion. Sudosi bodosi niranjanosi samsara maya parivajitosi samsara svaparam traija mohanijam na janmami tyortat satsvarupi. Yeah, let's go to that space, beyond all illusion. Giving up our attachment, that's it. It's the attachment, Yeah, I'm guessing it was a bit loud, the singing, and the microphone is not ready for that as well. Yeah, but doubts come in, and thoughts come in, and somehow it seems like we are attached to something. At least I'm attached to some stuff, and it's not always that easy to discern between what is coming from the confusion, what is coming from the mind and the thoughts and the ego, and from an unauthentic controlled place, and what is coming from the divine, what is coming from source, what is coming from our connection to God, our true calling, our true authenticity, truth and love itself. Hey man, good to see you. Hola señor. Good to see you, Scotty. Yeah, what's up in my life at the moment? I haven't had the possibility to do a stream last week, and excuse me if this one is gonna break apart in a couple of minutes because my internet connection is not very stable. So that's been going on. Also, Darth Vegan, good to see you. Good day. I'm doing a medical medium 9-day cleanse at the moment again after coming back from Madagascar. So I have my apple, cinnamon, dates. So good. And I gotta eat raw celery sticks, which I do not like, but I do love the celery juice every morning. Lemon juice, celery juice, and a blueberry smoothie every single morning. It's so good. But I guess also what I want to mention is there's going to be a Psychedelic Actualization school community very soon. We're going to open up the community platform, very intimate, very small kind of circle. We're going to go into depth, into group conversations, into whatever is coming up for each and every one of you, regarding developing good habits, creating a vision, really hearing that true calling for your life, where you're called, and how to actually actualize that purpose. And so stay tuned for that. And also, what I'm going to publish soon on the YouTube channel is a presentation. I've been working on a presentation over the last... I started before I went to Madagascar, so like a couple of weeks ago. Actually, I started, accumulating that information 4 years ago, while I started to plan to publish a course. And now I think I decided to just give it all away for free. Just publish it on the YouTube channel, and I've created one single video. It's called Psychedelics Are, and then embrace is not a magic pill, and I've been diving deep in the last few weeks into creating this presentation. It's a presentation with like over 300, 400 slides. It's gonna be like 3, 4, 5 hours long, just around this paradox of psychedelics being a magic pill and not a magic pill at the same time, highlighting all the benefits, all the potential benefits, all the wonders that those substances provide, but also going into all the dangers, all the traps, all the pitfalls that come with working with these substances. And then basically taking both of these sides and transcending this black and white thinking of the black of the magic pill or not a magic pill, or the gradual path, what's called in sometimes in spiritual circles. There's an argument around the gradual path with the psychedelic assisted instant approach to awakening, basically, and transcending that limited perspective, breaking our minds apart, basically. And I'm very excited to share that with all of you. It's going to be, I think, my best work yet. And I'll have to see, it's a new way for me as well to navigate this, because I wrote a whole script basically, and I scripted it out, and it's more like a scientific work, an article, or like a work than just like me just freely flowing along. But yeah, I'm excited to bring this out, especially looking at paradox. Paradox is such a key feature of reality. Our reality is filled with paradox, and some we just gotta embrace them. We just gotta embrace them. There's no way around them. It's a feature of infinity as well. Infinity is a small part of this presentation as well, and infinity itself is like, it's so hard to grasp, and inherently it just brings about a certain sense of paradox. For example, one example that comes to mind is that what many people in the psychedelic community have observed is that there is no end to this journey, into infinity. We're going into deeper and deeper layers of ourselves. And then we come to a certain peak experience, this mystical awakening, what many people call emerging with the absolute, emerging with oneness. And you might say, okay, oneness is like, that's the end goal, that's it doesn't go any further than this. But what many people, and I myself have just slightly tapped into this territory, have discovered is that no, oneness is not the end. There's like magnitudes of oneness. There's deeper layers of oneness that we can pierce into, which is just absolutely mind-blowing. It's just beyond the beyond, it's beyond everything we can imagine, beyond everything we can comprehend. A magnitude, a multitude of onenesses is just like, it's a paradox. That's just one fun example. And there's many, many more. So I'm excited for this and to bring this out into the world. Actually, there's much more information that I've gathered over the years that I would like to bring out. I don't like that celery stick. Sorry, I gotta eat this because basically on a schedule. I gotta cook also very soon my dinner. Lots of zucchini and Brussels sprouts and salad. So, but what I've noticed over the last few weeks, I would say, is that while I was working on this presentation, there is a certain sense of passion missing. I basically haven't felt this little passion in a long time around everything what I'm doing. It's not just this, and this is basically all I'm doing. I'm doing these YouTube videos, I'm doing these live streams, and I'm creating a lot on the back end. I'm developing programs, studying marketing, I'm doing coaching with one-on-one clients, and trying to develop this community, and just like it all around evolves around this and around this vision, of where true passion lies, of actually helping people integrate their psychedelic experiences. Say like, okay, I love to, give back to the psychedelic community because psychedelics have helped me so much on my path, and I see so many people not integrating their experiences or transforming their insights into lasting change as much as they could. And that's a shame, and so I'm very passionate now, especially to go more into psychedelic integration, especially. Scotty's saying psychedelics seem to be as long a path as any, but the scenery of this path is fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. And I still feel very passionate about the psychedelic path. Actually, I haven't had a proper experience since quite a while now, for a couple months. But also with my health situation, it's a bit difficult to go into this space at times. But I've had this like reconsideration also when I was in Madagascar a couple weeks ago, or a month or two ago. I was reconsidering this whole path that I'm on. It's like there's something calling me, and I don't know what it is or why that is. Of like, I want to just leave it all behind. I just want to leave it all behind. Leave this YouTube channel behind, leave this work behind, leave everything behind for now, and say like I give it all up. I surrender completely. I don't have any plans anymore. I just give it all to you, God, and then see what happens. Because there is a true desire for me, especially to serve, in the psychedelic community, but in person. So I actually go into facilitation space, which is a bit of a different space than this online space. And I was like speaking at festivals. That was my plan today, this year actually. And go to a lot of festivals and get more involved in the community and conferences and the society and all that kind of stuff, and build out this course basically, and build out this like my body of work here on this YouTube channel actually, and obviously just continue on the path of mastery with the coaching, because I am very passionate about this coaching as well. But something was like, okay, why don't you just like go to the jungle? Because also I'm in a phase of my life where I'm still quite young, and I'm like, it's very tempting to see like, okay, I don't have much to lose, I don't have anything, I'm not risking anything if I just leave it all behind. Because I literally have nothing, I am nothing. It's all just pure nothing. And why not just, and I've heard many inspiring stories as well from other people. It's like to just go to the jungle and see what happens. Or my friend recently, he reached out and he's like deep in an existential crisis, and he was like, man, I just want to go to India. Like literally just from like the middle of Europe, Germany, Netherlands. I just want to go to India by foot. Just leave it all and just go to India and see what happens. Do you want to join me? And I was like, damn, like I recently had this reconsideration. I always came back to the vision. I came back to the coaching. I came back to the community and this work. And still it threw me in for a loop. Like even though I'm very committed to this vision that I've set for myself, and I know this path feels also good and right and authentic and very like it has progressed so far already, you know. And so it threw me in for a loop, and I was like, damn, do I want to come join him and just go to India and just like see what happens? Just give it all up and see what emerges out of that, you know, or not, because yeah, it's this continuous journey, you know, of keeping the passion alive and also discerning what, like, not discerning between you wanting to escape because your situation because it's hard, or you being actually called to do something else than what you're doing right now. I like this saying, it could be the Holy Spirit, you know. Holy Spirit is not a she, by the way. Sorry for misleading you. I've been misled myself by the devil. Okay, yeah, it could be the Holy Spirit. This is what this, like, it's such an intangible calling, you know, this like this intuitive nudge almost, like. And Arten Z, good to see you. Are you sure you have nothing to lose? Your house seems nice. You have a high quality camera. What should be African kids say? If you say this. Yeah, well, I guess nothing to lose means, for me, it relates more to attachment. You know, it doesn't mean that I have to give up my camera. I can give my camera to somebody else and he can take care of it until I come back, or I just gift it away. What's hardest for me to let go of, where I have a perception, because basically we all have nothing to lose ever, like never. Nobody has anything to lose ever. That's my core belief. But then, hey Kali, good to see you again. Yeah. But then my perception is like, okay, I can give up these plans because there's no attachment. It comes back to the attachment of the song I was singing at the beginning of the stream, of like, okay, I'm not attached to this room, you know. I'm not attached to this house. I'm not attached to any like decoration, maybe the books, you know. But all that material stuff that I have here, I'm not really attached to any of this stuff. Not too much. But what I am attached to, well, when you say, you know, the camera or my laptop, for example, I'm attached to that, but because only I am attached to my work. It all resolves around this work of like, okay, I am somebody, you know, I'm this Virgo from Psychedelic Actualization, and I built up this community. I have a community. I have a coaching practice. I have something, and I'm attached to this then. I have a career path for myself that I'm very passionate about. You know? I'm very blessed to be doing what I'm doing. And to be working with some of you, you know, it's incredible. It's like it's a dream. It's a dream coming true. And I'm super blessed to have this, but I'm attached to this. You know, there's a certain sense of attachment to my vision as well. Of like, okay, I have the vision. I'm just like, I'm gonna be location independent and make money online. You know, that was the vision that I had like 9 years ago, probably 10 years ago. I had this vision. Yeah, around 10 years ago, 9 or 10 years ago, started to have the vision of like, okay, I wanna make money online with doing stuff I love, you know. I mean, so now I'm here. And still it's hard, you know, it's hard work. It's incredibly hard work. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what the African kids say. if I would give it all up, maybe I could give it to them, you know. And also something in me says it would be freeing to give up even these attachments. And attachment also, you know, this is like the struggle, this is the discernment. Because attachment and leaving everything behind, leaving your attachment behind doesn't mean you leave everything behind, right? I could, for example, leave the attachment to this room behind, but still be in this room. I could give the attachment to my work up and say I'm just doing what I'm excited about each and every day. Like I wake up and I ask myself, what am I most excited to do today? And I just follow that. Actually, that's a good practice. I've done that for a while and it worked well. I wanna implement it there again. A good recommendation. When you wake up, you thank God that you're alive, you take a deep breath, and then when you start your day, you're like, what am I most excited about today? And that's what you do. That's what you do every single day. And if that's related to your work, okay, that's related to your work. Well, okay, our culture's designed where some of you may not have the freedom to actually do that because there's like duties and you got to take care of your kids or got to pay some rent and go to a job. But usually just like with the free time that you have, and even, you know, even further than that, it goes into a bit more bold, courageous territory to say like, okay, what am I most excited about today? I just go do that and I trust life, basically. I trust God that I'm provided for, that I have, literally, that I always have enough. You know, it's this perception of like, I trust that I have enough. But what I was going to say is like, exactly, the attachment does not require you to leave everything behind. You know, it doesn't require you to leave your life behind and just walk to India. Because you're here, you know. I read this quote recently. It was Kabir or Hafiz, one of those like mystics. You know, so he said he's laughing. Why are people going on pilgrimages to holy places? Because every place is holy as another one. There's no difference. Enlightenment, liberation, you know, it's accessible right here. Happiness, freedom. You don't have to literally just leave everything behind and leave and see what happens. You can do it in the world as well. It's this perspective, you know, with the Tantra, you can be in the world and everything is divine and you can do your work, what's necessary, and just be not attached to that. And then you don't seek anything, basically, and that is freeing you from suffering. This to stop seeking. To stop seeking. Yes, Hafiz, the poet, absolutely. The vegan is saying, attachment doesn't have to be something bad if you want to stay alive. Yeah, exactly. But that wanting to stay alive is including an attachment to life, you know, to health. And that's, I agree, it's a good attachment to have if you want to stay alive. Then valuing and attaching to your life and not getting into too dangerous situations or killing yourself is a good thing to do. Everything is in relation to each other, and a relation requires some form of attachment. Seems like you're interested in Sufism. Yeah, I haven't gone too deep into it, but I do like the Sufism as a called structure, and their practice is very interesting, and their mystics, especially Rumi, is absolutely admirable, and of course Hafez and Kabir, very, very beautiful stuff, you know. I could read hours upon hours. Every time I start to read something from Hafez, it's like I get just drawn in and I just read more and more and more, and like, and it's just, you know, it's inspiring. But then when I read this is actually part of this calling, you know, because when I read the poems of Hafiz, I read Kabir, I read something from let me I read something from Bodhidharma, or I read something from Ananda Majjhima, and they're speaking of this practice of union with God, and just basically dedicating your whole life to that. For example, she's saying silent japa should be engaged in all times. One must not waste breath uselessly. Whenever one has nothing special to do, one should silently practice japa and the rhythm with one's breathing. In fact, this exercise should go on continually until doing japa has become as natural as breathing. And again, this is possible right here. It doesn't have to be on the road, But this dedication, what these sages are talking about, this dedication to the divine, is calling me, basically. And I recognize when I'm engaging very intensely in this work and in creating presentations and in doing intellectual work and in doing lots of stuff, that's related to this. I prioritize that basically over doing japa, over repeating God's name, over deeply entering into my practice, But still that practice is calling me. So it's this fine, delicate balancing act and the act of discernment of what I'm truly excited about doing. Khayyam's poem, also great. Look into them as well. I'm gonna write that down. Yes, thank you for that recommendation. I think I haven't heard of that before. I think I have heard of him before, but just very briefly looked into it. So yeah, that's basically it. And on top of that, usually sometimes I'm more passionate and sometimes I'm less passionate. There's also the etymology of passion is also very interesting. I just learned about it recently and looked it up. Passion literally means and is coming from the root word to suffer or to endure. So if you follow your passion, you are meant to suffer. It's unavoidable that you're gonna be suffering if you engage enough with passion. It's very interesting, the word passion. Well, it's like, what? It's coming from the root word to suffer. I think even it's coming from the root from Christ suffering, on the cross or being on the cross, Christ's suffering. So yeah, that's very interesting. And also when you translate it to German, for example, it's called Leidenschaft, which means also it's kind of related to passion. It's very interesting. If you look at words, I'm very passionate about looking into our language and what words we're using to describe our experience of life. Because I feel like many are very sloppy in their way of talking about things. So yeah, I love that. And to see like, okay, when I say words like intelligence, ignorance, psychedelic, what am I actually referring to? How deep is my understanding of these words of awakening, consciousness, divine, truth, illusion, hallucination, all of these words. It's basically also my whole course on what I'm working on, and basically this whole channel is just like an exploration of language. Such a funny vessel that we have developed to communicate, not only to communicate but also to make sense, for sense making of reality. Everything we have is so much language, all these concepts, everything is just like, as Terence McKenna said, the world is made of language. It's fascinating, it's true. and to explore that further is very, very interesting. But also to enter and not forget to connect to that silent space. Yeah. And what I was saying with the passion, is in the last few weeks, I have felt like a deep feeling. I've had this that I basically had like I was gonna say, I was distracted by the comments, sorry. That I had like, it was hard work but I pushed through. But recently, and also since my mushroom trip, which showed me that I was breaking down afterwards, basically, was like, okay, there's a deeper feeling. There's a deeper feeling of misalignment, of like, what is truly aligned? Is this what I'm doing right here, right now? Is it aligned? Actually, these live streams are pretty fun. Like, I love them. And it does feel aligned. But am I doing what I'm planning and doing and controlling all the bits and pieces of my life? The location, like literally this room that I'm in, is this aligned? Like, could I be somewhere else just living a more aligned life? And it's these doubts, which are obviously just like creating more suffering, because it's seeking and it's questioning and it's like not letting go and being in the moment, but engaging in thought again. But then it's like, it's this back and forth, it's like, what are my opportunities? How could life look like if I just like move to Costa Rica, or I don't know, walk to India? And then if I think about it, it's like, it excites me. There's a feeling of excitement coming up. And when I think about just like doing more and more presentations and studying and engaging in some things that I have planned for myself over the next few months and years, I'm like, I'm like, there's this contraction and contracting energy. So it's like expansive energy, like this feeling, this inner deep resonance of like, oh, when I think about this, there's an expansion. And when I think about something else, there's like a contraction. And it's not that easy. It's not that black and white. Sometimes there's a little bit of expansion here and a little bit of expansion there. And then some contraction here and some contraction there. So it's like this so delicate balancing act. So your chats, Max Corin, how's it going, brother? I'm doing well. Today actually I fell a bit sick again. I'm doing like a cleanse at the moment. It's called a medical medium 9-day liver rescue cleanse or whatever. The 3-6-9 cleanse I'm doing. And it's tough, it's hard. My body's craving for fat. It's basically a fat-free diet, so no fat at all, and also no sugar, and just very healthy, like fruits and veggies. That's a bit tough, but physically I've been feeling okay in the last week, at least, I would say. Today I got more sick again. There's still pleurisy lingering from my hospital experience, where I almost, killed myself, died. So I can't do exercise, I can't do my running, I can't go to the gym, which is very sad. But and otherwise I'm doing good. I'm passionate. I just finished creating a 4-hour presentation about psychedelics, on the paradox of psychedelics being a magic pill and not a magic pill at the same time. And I'm very excited to record that very soon and bring that out into the world, share that with you guys. I'm excited about starting a community. I'm excited to do some work that I'm doing, but as I said as well, there's many doubts and there's questioning of a lot, which is coming up again and again and again and again, each and every day. And my mind is it's an interesting place. As Tyler Davis said, I just got here, this dude's tripping balls, right? I feel like I'm tripping balls. Like, I am literally not taking any substances other than just apples and water, and celery juice. But see, the way I'm speaking, the way I'm thinking, the way I'm like, literally, I'm so, when you see me out into the streets, I think people think that I'm tripping all the time. It's like I'm like, whoa, what is this building? It's like, whoa, what is this tree? Like rolling around. And it's like, I feel like I'm tripping all the time. And I've gotten a bit like insane in my mind. And it's fun, you know, it's still a very fun place to be. But yeah, it's basically part of my psychedelic integration. You know, you have this psychedelic self, what I call it. It's a psychedelic persona, you know, persona that is emerging in psychedelic space. For example, when you take a bit of LSD, when you take a bit of mushrooms, you know, there's a you emerging. If you're not going to complete absolute deconstruction and ego death experiences, you're still there. But it's like, it's not your ordinary self, your day-to-day ego consciousness, but it's an expanded psychedelic persona, what we could call it. And you know, part of my psychedelic integration is then, because that me feels very aligned and it feels authentic and it feels free in its expression, even though it's like, it seems to be a bit tripping and a bit like all over the place and a bit like maybe insane or crazy from societal standards. But I like that me, you know. And then my integration over the last few years has been to integrate that into my day-to-day, you know, when I'm not tripping. So basically to be tripping all the time. That's the integration of my practice. To say like, okay, I'm as crazy, as authentic, as free in my energy and in my expression of weirdness in each and every moment as my psychedelic me that feels so free and expansive and authentic would be. So that's what I'm doing. I was like, okay, great. And it might seem a bit crazy, but I'm happy that you're here, Tyler. Scotty's saying, letting go is very tough for me. The plans do help though, but really, I really wish I were better at letting go. I have so much fight in me. It takes a lot for me to give in and give up. Yeah. That's the paradox again, you know, it comes to paradox again. I was talking to a friend recently and we're like, actually it was a podcast with Gary, I'll upload it soon. It was fun and we're like, I had this notion as well of like, letting go and surrendering, you know. Theoretically, there's nothing stopping us from letting go, from completely letting go. There's nothing. Like in the physical sense, there's no object, there's nothing stopping you from fully surrendering. And we probably know from psychedelic space that full surrender is the answer to everything, almost like this deep inner surrender. But at the same time, I recognize this for myself, that I can't surrender fully. I can't fully let go, you know, of my attachments, of things we're attached to. It's always just, basically it's attachments that we are letting go of. That's all there is. It's just attachment. And letting go and surrendering is bringing us into non-attachment, which feels free, which is free. But I'm not able to do this. And then like the whole loops begin of like, why am I not able to do this? How can I practice this? And it's like, I wish I was better at letting go. And it's like, how can I do this? And it's like all this like game begins again, which is preventing us from letting go and surrendering ever deeper into the present moment again and again and again. So yeah, it's a tricky one, you know. I don't have an answer to this. Practice, I guess. My best guess is just like, I think it was practice, you know. I read a quote earlier this day from Robert Adams, who's a teacher of Ramana Maharishi, and he said, you know, it's funny, and I'm paraphrasing, it's like, it's funny, you know, what the point that every sage and every mystic and every practitioner is coming to at the end is that, you know, practice is meaningless. You know, there's no meaning to practice. It's like it's all useless. You're always already there. You have been there all along. And this realization is instant. It's the here when you just fully surrender. You've always been here. You always will be here, and it's just like this deep surrender and letting go that these mystics have come to. But the paradox is that somehow only practice gets you to the point of realizing that practice is useless. I fell into the trap and know some others, that fall into more like, I don't know if we could call it, just like spiritual inflation, almost like, of thinking I know that practice is useless, but not truly embodying it. That's when I first discovered Zen Buddhism, a very radical, direct approach. I'm like, okay, I don't need to practice. What's the use of meditation? I'm here. So I'm always here. There's nowhere else to be. But then, only practice kind of seems to be bringing us to the point of realizing that we don't need to practice anything. So I would say practice is my best guess. A fun exercise for letting go and surrendering is to try to let go and surrender for 2 to 4 seconds. For example, let's do it right now. There is a brief moment of full surrender. Take a deep breath in, and then you fully surrender. Okay, that's it. That was 2 seconds. And there was, if you do this, you notice that there is a space. When you just give it all up, you just give it all up. There's nothing left anymore. There's this space of peace, of silence. And you can practice this over the day as often as possible. It's easy to forget. I forget all the time. I'm not doing it. But I think it's a great practice, and then you extend this space where you're in that space of fully letting go and surrendering. So yeah, or as the Buddha said as well, it's like the paradox of letting go. It's a fun one as well. The Buddha was sitting on a mountain somewhere, and he was like, I don't remember the exact story, but it was something along those lines of like, he realized basically that he had to let go of his attachments, have to let go of desire and aversion. Just let go of that desire, let go of that aversion, let go of those attachments. But then he realized after a while that this brought him to a place of desire, because wanting to let go is a desire, wanting to surrender is a desire. So you had to go a step further and say, like, this is ridiculous, I have to let go of wanting to let go to get rid of the desire. So the practice becomes letting go of wanting to let go. Oh, this is taking letting go into a different, level. It's taking it into a deeper layer, a different territory. And the story goes on, but I forgot. So yeah, not wanting to let go any deeper than you can right now. The same concept. My friend was coming up with it yesterday again. Actually, his mom, while he was calling with his mom. And so if you can't rush your healing, especially we psychedelic people, sometimes in the space, we like, we got to rush our healing. Or like, whatever healing is, that's a whole different conversation for another video, or if that even exists. It's like we can't accelerate our process of healing. Sure, we can engage in psychedelic space and go to ayahuasca and do that again and again and again. But if there's there was a breakup happening, you have some heartbreak, you lost a job, you don't feel aligned with your career anymore, there's been some childhood trauma, there's a natural processing happening, and that pace is different for everybody. And I feel the tendency in myself, I see it all the time in other people, as like, we want to rush our healing, we want to rush towards that destination of being whole and complete, without realizing that we're whole and complete right now, right here, always, everywhere. And still on the relative level there's this process of healing, it's naturally unfolding, and we can't rush that. We can't just rush towards being able to fully let go and surrender. But there's it's a path, you know. Scotty's saying that definitely just taught me something, what you just said about being just as free and interesting as you would be on the psychedelics, and that just set something in motion for me. Beautiful to hear, brother. And Artins is saying letting go is also desire, isn't it? Yes. So you gotta let go of wanting to let go of wanting to let go of wanting to let go. Yeah. It goes on forever, you know, and then you come to a point where you're like, fuck this, I don't want this anymore, and then you give up. You give it up. You just give it up completely. You know? It's like, that you're not wanting to let go of letting 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 go. So you have to let go of letting go, and you just have to let go. It brings you to this point of insanity. It's like, this is ridiculous. Like, let me just give it all up. Slushy, good to see you. How old were you when you started to realize your true self? I was 15 or 16, I think, when I started to, just be more aware of myself, basically, and realize my true self. So I think it started around 15 when I was in school. And I remember somehow something, I had like a very small relationship with somebody, and it broke up after like 3 weeks or something. It was like very cute, and it broke my heart. And then I got into, I don't know how I stumbled across like some political videos on YouTube, and that kind of like inspired like more like the conspiracy theorists and like the alternative media. And that inspired me really, and it inspired me to think differently and to kind of question some things. And then at the same time, I somehow got interested in philosophy, and then I went really deep into existentialism and nihilism, and read some philosophy, and that made me very sad. But it started this process of questioning everything, you know, questioning the Christian faith that I was growing up with, questioning this, questioning that, and questioning like the system of school that I was in, and all that kind of process evolved. So then I was like aware of me as an individual, and I got to know my place in the world, basically. That was a process of discovery. And then slowly I was miserable, I was depressed, everything was meaningless, I was deeply into pessimism and all that kind of thing. But then somehow I heard about psychedelics, you know, Terence McKenna, Alan Watts, Ram Dass, and I heard about spirituality at the same time as well. So when I was 16, I had my first LSD experience. I published an Instagram reel about that today. You can follow me on Instagram. It's called Psychedelic Actualization. Just like the channel name, you know, you can look it up. And that kind of made me realize myself for the first time. I would even say the self with a capital S, you know, because I got to know Zen Buddhism at the same time of having my first LSD experience. And I remember I was watching this TED talk from some Dada, whatever he was called, and he was doing a guided meditation at the end. I was loaded on LSD, you know, and engaged into this meditation, and it took me into what I would not call like a samadhi experience, like an awakening experience of my true self, the self meaning my nature as consciousness itself. And that was significant, you know. And then I got deeper into Buddhism and Hinduism and all that kind of shebang and the spirituality, and I became a more happy and alive and loving human being. Well, with the continuous work of psychedelics as well. So that started me on my path of self-realization, you know. That's what Psychedelic Actualization in this channel and my whole kind of like path is about, is like saying like, okay, how can we walk this path of self-realization and synthesize that with the path of the plant medicine, of what the psychedelics provide. Can we walk this path at the same time, you know, this ever-deepening self-realization through our practice, and then still having these temporary peak experiences, you know, from where we venture out and then we come back again and again and again, and we deeply integrate our realizations into our humanness, into our human life, and into our practice of self-realization. So yeah, that's an ongoing journey, you know. But overall, I would say it's a very beautiful path. When I discovered self-realization, when I also discovered this term of like enlightenment, liberation, awakening, satori, samadhi, mahasamadhi, when I heard this for the first time, moksha, many more names for that, union with God, I was so intrigued. I don't know why, like something in me was calling me to that, like, wow, I wouldn't want to do anything else with my life than just to dedicate my life to that. Because there seems like there's nothing more meaningful or important for me personally to do here on this earth than just to dedicate and devote myself to go into this ever-deepening realization, into the infinite, into the beloved, into love, into truth, into God, and reach this state of liberation, you know, and just go further and further and further. As they say in the Heart Sutra, the Buddha said, gate gate, para samgate bodhi swaha. Like gone beyond, gone even further beyond. Go even further until you've reached your true nature, you know, Bodhi, the Bodhi nature, your Buddha nature. See, and I feel like, we're just circling back to why I want to leave it all behind. I feel like I'm not doing that at the moment to the extent that I could. Because I am still like in this place here, right now, with you. And even though, yes, you could argue, you could say like your work is your meditation, your walk is your meditation, your, you know, yes, like your life is your meditation, and jap, all that is good and true, but still there's something in me saying like, if I would just spend 10 years in darkness, in a dark room, I might just go into these ever-deepening states of realization. And that doesn't mean I want to escape, you know. I still, there's this union between being in the world but not of the world as well, you know, being in the world and being of service, shining that light of awareness out, just as all the great sages did, automatically. But they did it automatically, just by being, you know. They didn't, I don't know if they had a plan like me. It's like, I'm going to make money online, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to build up this career path, and I'm going to build up my practice, and I'm going to do this and this and this, and then I'll be a sage, and then blah, blah. It's like, it seemed like they were just, and I'm overgeneralizing, probably not for all of them, but it seemed like it was giving to them, they had this calling, they went into periods of deep practice, you know, months and years and decades at times for people, you know, that like we hear about the Neem Kaure Baba. He wasn't just like born as Neem Kaure Baba, this like mystic. He went extreme, you know, when he was young, when he was a teenage boy. He went out, he left everything behind, his family. He went out into the mountains. Nobody knew where he was. Like literally, like gone, disappeared, practiced. you know, with different teachers, with different gurus. He was going out. Many, you know, that we hear about. Ananda Majima is an incredible story, just like leaving it all behind. Well, also it was God given that she was just on this path, but also still she had her husband, and she was kind of like in the world, but naturally she was drawn out. You know, she's like walking in the mountains just with nothing, literally just everything she was owning was just like her clothing. That's it, like one pair of like robes. That's it, like nothing else. And then just going out, trusting, like, okay, I'm provided for, you know, I'm practicing here, I'm practicing that. And this is like this deep dedication, which I feel I'm not fulfilling to that extent, at least. I'm fulfilling it to my own degree, but not to the extent that some of these extreme people have done. And they weren't saying then, okay, I'm gonna serve and I'm gonna like be a sage and be a cool spiritual teacher. But it came naturally to them as they were just deepening their own realization over and over and over again. Naturally, there were like people gathering around them, you know, there's like people getting interested. And then there's a service, an ashram or whatever. It's like it's emerging from that light. It's not emerging from a controlled ego perspective and state of being. It is emerging from this state of realization and that light shining out. Because then the embodiment of the divine consciousness is in that vessel, you know, and that is radiating out. And maybe, you know, there have been many more that we haven't heard about, many more that there are no books about, many more that people have not reported about because they went out and they died. You know, I always wonder, you know. We hear about these great sages, we hear about these great warriors and these great mystics, but we probably only hear about, like, well, some have like great stories, like Jesus dying on the cross, or I think always, yeah, some other have also fun stories of death. But some people who went out, you know, and then they never came back. Like, I wonder how many of those are out there. Just like saying, like, okay, I'm gonna leave it all behind, like Ananda Majima, and then go into the mountains, and then they go into the Himalayas, and they find nobody, they can't eat anything, and then they die. So also possible, you know. Slush is saying, thank you for sharing. My first self-realization was on LSD. I realized that all is one. I'm the universe. Yeah. Beautiful. You know, same for me. LSD. Blessings to the LSD. Darth Vader is saying, true love requires no sacrifice. That's a very deep statement. I don't know what you mean by that. True love requires no sacrifice. Yeah. Or I would say maybe it also requires ultimate sacrifice. There was a wonderful quote in the book LSD and the Mind of the Universe, where Chris Bay, she went into 73 high-dose LSD experiences and sessions. And he said, you know, he was talking about these layers and ever-deepening realizations of oneness and of true love, basically, as well, and of God. And, well, he said to be at those levels, we gotta, you know, this limited self that we find ourselves in has to cease to be the container of our experiences. And we gotta become citizens of those levels. And then he said something which now your message inspired me to remember this, is that what was the quote? Now I forgot it. We gotta give up everything, basically, to... Oh, what was it? Giving up everything... requires us... Oh my god, I forgot it. I'm sorry. I'm gonna look it up now. Giving up everything is simply the price of inheriting everything else. Giving up everything is simply the price of inheriting everything else. Now it's coming back to this notion of full surrender. When you fully surrender, that's when I feel like true love is emerging. You know, you fully let go of everything, of yourself. But then, as you said, it also requires no sacrifice, because everything you have been holding on to has been an illusion all along. You know, it has been Maya. So there is nothing worth holding on to. Pure consciousness, yes, beautiful. Dr. Vegan, I have met pure darkness, infinite aloneness. It was exactly as expected. Infinite horror. Oh, I'm very curious about that. You know, that sounds very tough. What have you learned out of that experience of darkness and infinite aloneness? And infinite horror. And you go on to say, we are not responsible for coming into existence, so we cannot be responsible for the act of leaving. Also very interesting, you know. Well, I guess our ego, you know, this like egoistic sense of personality and self, that is not responsible for bringing us into existence. But I guess if we would go into this like higher self with the capital F and say like, if pure consciousness is my true nature, myself, you know, I am consciousness, then and everything is consciousness, everything that is consciousness, then yes, I as consciousness am responsible for everything coming into existence, not just this vessel, but everything. You know, it's an act. What I realized into my deeper and deeper journeys into consciousness with the psychedelics is an ever increasing act of taking responsibility for everything that is. You know, and it goes on to very extreme levels of taking responsibility for children in Africa dying, but not saying like I have to save them, but it's a deeper sense of responsibility for everything. Okay, Kalianbi is asking, can you answer the question, why are you vegan? Why do you assume that I am vegan? Yeah, because I am not. At the moment I'm eating vegan with the cleanse, but I recently, actually just like a month ago, I started eating fish and meat again. Well, fish a bit longer, I think, but meat as well. So yeah, I it's a very interesting, you know, diet is a very big field. Benjamin Panther, good to see you, brother, and participating in the chat. I'm happy. Is all a distraction from the pure truth? We existed before we were physically born. Yes, as consciousness. You know. Art and Z is saying, why do you skip over my comments? Where are your comments? Ah, sorry, bro. Thanks for reminding me. I was not aware of this one. I was just skipping from Darth Vagan's one to the other, and then I was skipping over yours. I think you might be escaping subconsciously. The concept of existentialism is pretty absurd that anyone would run away from, even if the cost is wasting 10 years of an amazing life in a dark room. Not sure if I fully understand. The concept of existentialism is pretty absurd that anyone would run away from. Yeah, but I'm not... the sharing about existentialism was when I was like 15, 16. I long left it behind. This existentialist mindset. Now it's see, it's not... That's the discernment that I meant. If it's coming from a place of escaping, or if it's coming from a place of true calling, of true resonance, of basically love, from a place of fullness, from a place of I don't want to be doing anything else than just to sit in a dark room. And then it's not seen as a waste, because it's my truest desire. It's my heart's desire. This is what my heart is calling me to do. It's not an escape of some philosophy or some life situation, but it's like it's a true calling. It's a true resonance with that path. So yeah, I hope that clarified it. Yeah, Benjamin, it's all a distraction from the pure truth. What is pure truth? I'm asking you. I would be very curious to say what is pure truth. It's a very interesting notion. It's included in my course that I'm going to publish soon. Stay tuned for that. Where I actually went into a whole chapter about truth and illusion. What is true and what is an illusion? And it's deeper than we might think. Because I was coming to the notion that everything is true. Every experience is true. It's coming a bit more from this angle of Advaita Vedanta, and saying like that basically Brahman and Maya are one. There's no difference between illusion and truth, because both are part of the truth, of the absolute pure truth that you say is. It's both part of what they call lila, the play of consciousness. So yeah, in that sense, we could say that all of Maya, all of existence is an illusion. But then also basically all of that is a distraction from what you might be referring as the pure truth. Because what I equate this like purity of truth to is this sensation of going beyond, you know. We have a few quotes right here where we basically say that God is nothing, you know. God, there is a nothingness. Of God, and it's unknowable, you know. Bodhidharma said all appearances are illusions. Ramana Maharshi said, you know, in reality saying, well, he said only that stage is final, where there is no seeing, where there is no time or space. There will be no seer, seeing, or an object to see. What exists then is only the infinite I. Meister Eckhart is saying God is a being beyond being and a nothingness beyond being, who consists of a changeless existence and a nameless nothingness, which is what they call in the Upanishads neti neti, you know. That Brahman, or what they call even para Brahman, is not this, not that. That is what it's translated to, the neti neti. That we basically have to go beyond. We cannot stop with any name, with any label, with anything to land on truth. To say it's this inexpressible, ineffable mystery beyond that is para Brahman, which is neti neti, which is not this, not that. But at the same time, when we see that, okay, then it's all an illusion, it's all a distraction from pure truth. At the same time, I would say that still everything that is an appearance, is still, it's a fabrication, it's an expression of truth. So Bodhidharma goes on to say everything you do is Zen. That there is only reality, the reality that Ramana is saying. The Meister Eckhart is saying, apprehend God in all things, for God is in all things. Every single creature is full of God and is a book about God. Every creature is a word of God. So basically that illusion is truth. And yeah, it's a whole discussion, as I said, there will be more about this in the course that is coming out. I'm very excited to share this with you. But yeah, that's about it. As Darth Vader said, silence is God's first language, everything else is poor translation. It's poor translation, yes, and it's an expression of God as well. But the silence is coming, exactly, this is speaking to the absolute aspect of this purity of truth. A very nuanced and interesting topic. We could talk hours about this. Sashi's asking, have you heard of a triple Mayan drone flute? I would like to share a YouTube video of a man playing this instrument. I'll Google it. And if you can share links in the chat, then feel free to share that. I'm not sure. Sometimes YouTube is deleting. Sometimes YouTube is deleting links in chats or in comments. I've seen that instrument before, yes, but I have not had it in my hand before. Artins is saying, I meant we're escaping the harsh reality that we all die. Well, it's not it depends on how you see it, if it's a harsh reality or not. I refer back, I think it was Guru Nanak that said recently, I'm reading the Siri Guru Granth Sahib Ji from Sikhism at the moment, and he is saying that basically also I would say that spiritual practice is dying. It's a practice of dying before we die. This is why I meant what I meant with the notion of letting go of everything, basically you die in that full surrender. You give up yourself, and then you're dying. And Guru Nanak was saying, I forgot where it was. I'm paraphrasing that basically if one would understand death, we wouldn't have a bad perception around it. There would be a joy around death, basically, because it's nothing like, if we would understand it correctly, it would be such a pleasure. There's no harsh reality. It's only harsh for the ego. It's only harsh for someone's ego that is attached to something, and this attachment is to ourselves, to our life. But when there is an understanding and an embodied realization and a presence and a knowing that basically we can't die, our essence is always re-emerging and there is no death, basically, then there might be a dropping of this body, obviously, but ultimately there is no death. Then we would rejoice, in this, what Ram Dass called it, the next exciting adventure. So yeah. Kalimbi is saying, do you have a core philosophy, religion, or principles? Like, what is your main way of thought? Basically, everything I'm sharing here on this channel is my main stream of thought. It's coming just from many different directions. I mean, I haven't explored all ideologies or streams of thought or religions or philosophies or spiritual streams, but I have explored a few, you know. I do resonate with the non-dual ones. But ultimately, I don't subscribe to any, you know. I don't say like this is my core philosophy or this is my core philosophy. I say what is coming out of my experience right here, right now. What is coming out of my experiences with the psychedelics, from my taking in of infinite amounts of perspectives through learning is, and then what is feeling true in the moment. That is what is emerging. That is my stream of thought, and it might change. You know, tomorrow, last week in the stream, it might have been different than today, and next week it might be different as well, as it's a constant process based on my direct experience and on my feelings. I do live around certain principles that I have set for myself. Well, I feel like I'm getting sick and tired. I'm sorry. I will have to end the stream soon. So if you have any questions anymore, then feel free to put them in the chat. I do live around certain principles. For example, direct experience is king. You know, don't subscribe to any ideology. Basically, don't believe too much. I'm not a fan of believing things, but rather than and just like more like staying humble and stay in my state of not knowing, because basically I don't know anything, like literally. and also this what we were calling and referring to as pure truth, and this beyond, this sensation of the beyond. It cannot be reached by understanding. I was sharing in the community hub of the channel recently a quote from Bodhidharma, who said that basically only those understand who go beyond understanding and not understanding. But there's very practical principles as well, of like taking 100% responsibility for everything that is happening. Engaging in life fully is a principle. Being open-minded, being humorous, having fun, being patient. There's certain character traits, you know, and principles, like direct experience is king. Don't believe anything. Certainly there's more, but I do, but those have come from my own like experience of life, basically. Like follow your highest excitement is a principle, I would say, or a guiding mechanism, or stream of thought. So a lot to say about this. Fred the Spaceman, good that you're here. Happy that you're here. Thank you. And thank you for asking. Have you had any encounters with police? I was picked up by some mushrooms by cops a little while ago. What happened? Like, what did they say? What did you say? I'm curious. Not too many experiences with the police. No. Just one. I was driving and I forgot that I was crossing borders, and I had some stuff with me, visiting a friend. And they were pulling me apart in my car parts, like, and they were searching everything, and then they found my little bag and my little stash, and they were like, "What is all this?" Like, there was mapacho and rape and cambo and bufo and I think even synthetic 5-MeO DMT and changa and and I was like, oh, let me explain. And I was just like, I was going with honesty. Tell the truth, you know, tell the truth and love everyone. Love everything and love everyone is another principle that I live by. Unconditional love and appreciation, and tell the truth, pure honesty and authenticity. One of my key ones, you know, basically values that I live by. But I was referring to truth and honesty. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna like be honest about it. And I started with like the most legal stuff, like rape, for example. I was like, Well, officer, let me tell you, this is shamanic snuff. It's made out of tobacco from the jungle, and they do it in this tribe, and I can blow it up your nose, and this is the mapacho. I like to smoke it myself. And then, okay, I was describing some stuff. I was like, okay, with the changa, I was like, this is a herb. You can smoke it. It's good for your spirit. It's like a spiritual medicine. And this is frog venom, from the Sonoran desert toad. And then they stopped listening. They were like, oh, what the fuck? Like, okay, leave them alone. That's not what we're searching for. You can go. That was my only experience where police had me with psychedelics. And it went well. But yeah, gotta be careful, especially when it's not legal. And yeah, I don't know. And especially in countries where, small amounts can get you into a lot of trouble. I think a friend of mine recently, I read it on Facebook, she went to Georgia with a lot of cannabis, like 30, not too much, like 30 grams of cannabis in her bag, and police caught her, and they're a bit more strict, and now she's 2.5 years in jail, Georgian jail, making the best out of it. But I was shocked just to read this. I was like, wow, this is intense. It's a reality for many. So gotta be careful in your traveling, and unfortunately, we're still living in a culture where in most places it's not allowed to own too much stuff. I guess sometimes if you just have a little with you, I'm not sure. At least in like more progressive countries, you can just get away with it. Arden's saying even by sitting in a dark room, which doesn't really make sense if you can go have an amazing experiences. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm doing right now, I'm having lots of amazing experiences. I'm going out, I'm traveling all the time. It's like I'm working, I'm engaging with you. It's fun, and that's what life is about. Do all these like experiences. Absolutely have all the experiences that your heart desires. But if that's sitting in a cave, then why not do that? And if you feel like leaving the cave again, then you leave the cave again. But also in Buddhism, they have these like progressively longer retreats. You basically go, you do a 10-day retreat, you 20, 40-day, you go have a 80, 160, I don't know the steps. You have a 1-year retreat, up to 13-year retreats. They take care of people so they can just do their meditation. But also I'm on the side, like do not live life, live your life. This is what it's about. It's just like have all the fun experiences and just, this is what we're here for, have lots of fun, gain lots of experience, and enjoy all that this illusion has to offer, like to its fullest. Enjoy it all. Absolutely. Slushy, I couldn't face death on my mushroom trip. I was afraid for my life, and it was so dark. Yeah, I had a similar one on an ayahuasca experience. Kalimbi is saying, a Buddhist monk told me that according to Theravada Buddhism, the human is not equipped to handle psychedelics power on the mind, so we shouldn't do it. What do you think about that? Yeah, many believe that, and I don't. I would say yes. I would say many. My observation is that many human minds are not really equipped to handle psychedelics and the power of psychedelics, especially in the deeper realms. If you go into very high dose territory, many are not equipped for what's waiting there. All the weirdness, all the aliens, all this, like it's crazy stuff. When you go into the deeper layers of the mushroom experience, when you go into deep territory, it's weird, and I think many are not ready. And many minds are not really suited to be able to handle these experiences well. And furthermore, many more are not even suited or able to then integrate the experiences successfully in their own lives, and actually have a better life as a conclusion, as a result out of their psychedelic experiences, a more happy, aligned, fulfilled life. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing with the psychedelic integration coaching, which you can book a free one-on-one call with me if you're curious about that. Link is in the description, or the free ebook. That's why I'm passionate about helping people integrate their insights into real, lasting transformation. Because many are just like going in, they're overwhelmed, and then they don't know what to do with that experience. But I do believe that quite a few as well are ready. So I wouldn't like just generalize it on the human itself, but I would say like many humans are equipped to handle psychedelics' power on the mind. So why not do it? It's a very interesting territory. It's a wonderful facet of life. There's so much to explore. I find it such an enjoyable and wonderful territory of the mind. It gives me access to parts of the mind which I didn't even know were there. It gives me access to facets of consciousness which are so horrible or so blissful that I wouldn't have reached them in my meditation on the meditation cushion. Not at least in the next 10, 20 or 30 years. Or maybe even never, It's so it's I wouldn't say that as an argument to just not engage in psychedelics. That's why I think like psychedelics are, maybe not suited for every mind, maybe not suited for everybody, maybe not integrated successfully by most people, but definitely there's, if you have like these frameworks that we're discussing here on this channel with proper preparation and a good navigation and a good integration of the space, there's absolute value of it for you in your own life to unlock and actualize your potential, to go into deeper layers of your self-realization, and just like work with them, make them part of your practice, and that's been true for me so far. And I might change my mind in the future. Many psychedelic enthusiasts who have been going very deep have in later years of their life slowed down on the psychedelics, but I'll explore it for myself. As I said, my direct experience is it's a principle I live around. It's key for me to live based on my direct experience. Arns is saying, and it's too hard to believe and accept, so we go make all these meanings to comfort ourselves. Yes, we're making a lot of meaning through words and language and stories we tell ourselves to comfort ourselves. Because, confronting truth is demanding, it's scary, it requires courage. That is why it requires courage to go into psychedelic space as well. Absolutely. Kali saying you're smart with police, well played on your part. Yeah, man. Darth Vader is saying Buddhist monks believe a lot of crazy stuff. They do, yeah. No longer practiced since 1941. Tibetan tradition where they tortured slaves and peeled off their skin while they were still alive. These are for ornaments. Woo. Yeah, many traditions have done a lot of weird stuff. And I guess the deeper layers of Buddhism, especially also Tibetan Buddhism, it's very psychedelic in and of itself. I think they have these sometimes these very intense paintings. They have these buildings where only very, very, very advanced practitioners can enter into, because they would say that not every mind is able to handle these spaces, these paintings, these teachings, so I would say it goes not just for psychedelics, but it's like if a mystical, magical, wizardry guru would give you a Shaktipat and transmit consciousness into you, not all people are ready for that, kind of energy. It's like spontaneous Kundalini awakening, and then same goes for these like crazy places. Same goes for psychedelics. So I find it a bit weird that people would distinguish psychedelics from anything, because it's all just an experience of consciousness. Okay, guys, I have another call coming up. I'm joining a community. It's very exciting, actually. A couple friends invited me, and I'll have to see. And they just started this community of a bunch of people hanging out together and supporting each other and realizing their goals. And I'm very curious what's going to come up there. It's going to start in a couple minutes, and I'll have to recenter and clean up and maybe make some food more. So I want to end this live stream now. I was aware of this limitation, but I'm happy that all of you were here, and I'm happy that we could spend some time together. I love you all. I really appreciate you all. And yeah, if you have any last questions or comments, then let me know. Oh yeah, this is a good song. I want to sing you a song of gratitude, my friends. So, dear friends, let me tell you how I feel. You have given me so much pleasure. I love you so. Dear friends, let me tell you how I feel. You have given me so much pleasure. I love you so. Love, 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 love. People, we are made for love. Love each other as ourselves. We are one. Love, 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 love. People, we are made for love. Love each other as ourselves. We are one. I think it's a very beautiful song. I like it. Thank you, my dear friends, for being here. Let us not forget that we are all made out of love. That is your true essence. That is the true light of your being. We are one in that space of truth, in that space of consciousness. And in that sense, it would not make sense to fight or harm any other part of reality, as we would only be hurting ourselves. So let's be kind to each other. Let's play, let's rest, enjoy, and in peace. I love you all, and yeah, I'll see you all in the next live stream or in the next video. Check out the links. 5 steps to integrate your psychedelic experiences, a free ebook I wrote, or book a call with me if you're curious about the coaching. Yeah, thank you. It's a warm feeling. Thank you.